Hello everyone and welcome to Inside Healthcare. You know, it's that time of year when students will be heading off to college. Maybe your son or daughter is one of them, and you hope that you've done everything to keep them healthy and safe while they're at college. One Minnesota family thought they had done that, but what happened to their daughter they never could have imagined. Here's Stephanie's story. Last June, Stephanie Marchiavava was away at college when this healthy 20-year-old suddenly became very ill with a high fever and a severe sore throat. Her parents brought her home, took her to the doctor, but with each passing day, she got worse. Within days, Stephanie was fighting for her life.
By the time we got here, I think her blood pressure was 39/69, and they just ran her right in. And everybody came into the emergency. There were so many people there and they were talking about the disease, the infectious disease guy, and running this test and running this test, and they're giving her all these fluids, and went to have a CT scan, and she didn't do well there. She kind of came out white as a ghost and rushed her up to ICU.
Doctors in the ICU scrambled to figure out what infectious disease was attacking Stephanie and causing her body to shut down.
And Blanche, who was a wonderful nurse down in ICU, she just hugged us, and we just didn't know what was going on, you know, and she was just, it'll be okay, it'll be okay.
What impressed me most of your staff was the patience they had with us, and they never once did I feel like they were in a hurry, they had to go do something else. And I knew they had other things to do, you know, and it's just incredible all the way through.
Doctors were able to stabilize Stephanie, but she remained in critical condition. St. John's allowed her parents to stay with her around the clock.
I really calmed their fears and told them exactly what to expect for the first 24 hours that they were here, and they made it very clear that they would not be leaving. And I made it very clear to them that that would be perfectly acceptable. And the next thing I did is I went out to the aide and told her to find 2 recliners and put them in the room, and that the parents would be staying there.
She and her staff were showing they were very present and living in the moment for this family and others who say it makes a world of difference.
Feeling like part of healing her, actually, you know, just letting us help was a big deal, and answering all our questions, and we had a lot of them, like Peg said. It was just surreal.
Everybody that we encountered here was amazing. They asked questions. We had so many questions. We were so afraid.
It was a long 36 days. Finally, a diagnosis. Stephanie had a rare but deadly bacterial disease called Lemierre's syndrome that started with an abscess behind her tonsils and has settled in her lungs.
It was nice when Dr. Bornstein came in and said, okay, we have good news and we have bad news, and good news is we found bacteria. And we just got to figure out how to treat it now.
Powerful antibiotics helped kill the bacteria. Slowly, she recovered.
When I woke up, things were getting progressively better and better. So I didn't realize how bad it had been. And I was just very nervous because I came in just with pneumonia, and I wake up with 4 chest tubes and tracheotomy, and it was very comforting to have everybody be able to explain it to me and let me know what was happening, and having my parents stay with me and being involved in everything that was going on. It was very comforting for me to have them with me the whole way.
Ours is an awesome story. You know, we have her.
When it was finally time to leave the hospital, it was a day of mixed emotions, a day of hugs and tears of joy.
It was a sad day too because I became so attached with everybody.
I got to meet a wonderful, wonderful young lady. So, you remember that. You keep it up, okay?
And joining us now, we're very pleased to have with us Stephanie and her folks, her parents, Peggy and Steve. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for
I'll
having
have
us.
a little tears in my eyes here. So it's been about a year since that deadly infection attacked you. How are you doing today? You look great, by the way.
Thank you. I'm doing a lot better. I've had no lasting effects, except for some of my hair started falling out a couple months after, but it's all coming back now, and I just feel back to normal and so thankful that I'm healthy again.
Was it hard when you first went back to school? When did you go back to school, by the way?
September.
Right on time.
Right after
Yeah,
the
right on. Didn't miss any class, and it was a little hard to adjust not being with my parents because they'd been with me almost every day over the summer, and it was a little hard adjusting to walking to class, and I was still a little weak, but I got stronger as the year went on and completely back to normal by the end of the school year. So.
Yeah, it must just seem like it was a nightmare or a dream or something for you.
Yeah, it did seem, it was very dreamlike for me since I was asleep during the worst parts of it, and I had, like, it was retold to me, so, like, I didn't experience the worst of it, and it was just told what happened to me, so very dreamlike.
And I can't imagine for parents how difficult that must have been for you that whole period in time. And
It was. It was reassuring that they kept telling us, "Don't worry, she's not going to remember any of this," you know. But watching her go through it was just heart-wrenching, just terrible.
so how's it been for you this past year?
Oh, it's been good. It's good to watch her get better each day, and she's got strength and everything. And you know, every little ailment or sore throat she's got, we start to panic about what it could be. Or
Yeah, you just don't take things lightly anymore.
No, I
imagine.
So don't take anything for granted anymore. It's a different world we're living in now.
As Stephanie said, she doesn't remember a lot of that period. Maybe Peggy or Steve, maybe you can kind of take us back last year when you first found out that she wasn't feeling well.
okay. So Steph called one morning, early morning, and said she's got a fever of 104.7. And I'm like, oh, we'll be there to get you. So we went and picked her up, and that was on a Wednesday. Thursday, we brought her to the doctor, and she had already gone for a strep test at school, and the strep test came back negative. And then, so when I brought her to the doctor on Thursday, they just confirmed that it was a viral infection and just needed to take some medicine. And over the course of the 2 days later, her fever didn't go away, and she was starting to get more sore. So I ended up bringing her to the hospital emergency on the following Sunday, and she was then treated with pneumonia, and she was dehydrated. Then they gave her some antibiotic, and we went home. And then by Tuesday, she was just aching so bad and started to cough, and she kind of just got gray looking. And Wednesday morning, I called the clinic, and I said, you need to see her first thing. So I got Steph there, and then from the clinic, they's like, you just need to go to the hospital. Either we'll call an ambulance or you can take her, but she's oxygen poor and she needs to be seen at the hospital. So when we got to the hospital, they were just working crazy and trying to test for everything, running all these tests, and then by the time we went up to ICU, she had to be intubated right away, and then starts our 36 days of craziness.
Yeah.
4
ICU.
chest tubes later and a feeding tube, and
Wow.
having to drain all that out. And she's better now, though.
You probably, I mean, when it all started, you probably had no idea how sick she was.
No, every time our kids have gotten sick in the past, they, get medicine, it's done. But this was totally, beyond anything that was medicine at that time could help. Being a bacterial infection instead of a virus.
Infection.
And so, the antibiotics were doing nothing. And when Stephanie was younger, she was allergic to amoxicillin. But had she not, and they gave her that probably might have knocked it out
Yeah.
before it went full blown, and the abscess got into her bloodstream, and it might have taken care of it before that burst. But it did burst, and it got into her bloodstream and shut down her lungs, her kidneys, liver, spleen, everything.
So what helped you get through all this? I mean, you just feel almost helpless to watch your child like this.
Well, we had the support of the hospital, of course, and we have a great family that, they keep calling and, letting us know that they're And a
Yeah.
lot of prayers. I mean,
Yep.
to be honest with you, I think we couldn't have made it through without all the prayers.
Yep.
So I think you had mentioned that they call this the forgotten disease. What is it exactly, Lemire syndrome?
Well, what it is, it's like a bacteria that exists in your throat, and there's only like, I think I heard 1 in 700,000 cases that develop into Lemire syndrome. And so it's rare, but it's not uncommon in the ways that we would think about it, because some statistics say there have been 100 cases in the past 100 years.
Wow.
But the statistics today are, it's steadily increasing. Like there have easily been 1,000 cases in recent years. And just by going online, and there's blogs about people who've survived Lemire syndrome, and just the sheer amount of people who subscribe to them and like have the shared experience, like I feel like it shouldn't be forgotten anymore, that it needs to be in the public eye because it's so deadly and it's not as rare as we think it is.
So do we even know why you got this, why it attacked you?
There's no particular reason why me. Like the Lemire syndrome doesn't have a typical patient or typeset of person who it attacks. It's just a chance that the bacteria that causes normal sore throats, it's just a rare chance that it develops into this other bacteria that causes Lemire syndrome. And so it could happen to anybody, but most often it affects people, I think 17 to 24.
So in that
So college range.
Yeah. So what have you told your friends about it?
Well, I've told them, like, I started out, because I knew I was living in River Falls with my friends and stuff during the summer when I got sick, and I just had a sore throat, and they thought I just went home for the weekend to get better. And then come to find out I'm gone for a month and been in the hospital. I told that I had a rare bacterial infection, and it started shutting down my body. And I told them all, like, to be aware, like, if you have a sore throat and it's not mono and it's not strep and it's not going away, that you need to look for something else because it could turn into Lemire syndrome.
Advice that you might tell other parents from your experience?
Well, mine is just to go with your gut because, I mean, the doctors just kept telling us at first that it was a virus, and just keep treating with Tylenol and ibuprofen, and you have to let it run its course. Well, you know your own children, and you know that they're really how different they were. I mean, Steph was always healthy, and that sore throat just wasn't a virus this time. She looked horrible when we first brought her in. So I'm thinking just to go with your gut, and if someone keeps telling you and their fever's not going away, and then go get a different opinion or see somebody else.
We were very fortunate that we got it diagnosed in time. It was the second day in the hospital where Dr. Bornstein and his group diagnosed her with Lemire syndrome. And had they not diagnosed it that soon, everything else would have just shut down. And they got the proper antibiotics in her that would make a difference. So I don't know. We're very fortunate. There's a lot of families out there that aren't. And I guess just getting the word out, I hope a lot of doctors watch this show so they know, not just the mom and dads, because we don't know anything. It's just we're at the mercy.
Yeah, because we went to the doctor 3 times, maybe even 4 times before I was hospitalized. And from what I understand, it could have been a matter of hours. Like, if I hadn't gone to the hospital when I did that day, it would have been a matter of hours before I just didn't get enough oxygen into my system. And so, like, having, like, healthcare and like family physicians be aware of this, that knowing that if they have a sore throat and a fever and strep throat's not coming up and mono's not coming up, that they need to look for Lemire syndrome so like this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, just so suddenly. Your life can really change and you have no idea.
Right.
But gratefully that they were able to figure out what it was and diagnose it. And
Yep.
life lessons maybe that you might want to share?
I would just say be aware of how you're feeling, and like if you're sick and you know that it's not a normal kind of sick and it's not getting better. Like usually if you have a sore throat and a fever, it would go away in a couple days or get better when you take Tylenol, but if you're not getting better, you need to like look for other answers or look to other people who can find you answers.
Final comments or advice? I know it was really important that you wanted to get the word out about
Yeah,
this.
just to have
Lemire
some
syndrome.
more awareness that, I mean, people need to, doctors need to be looking for this, and parents need to be aware that there is this type of infection, and it all starts with a sore throat. I mean, and strep doesn't come up, and it's not detected, and it can happen in your tonsil or your jugular vein or somewhere in your neck, but everybody carries the bacteria. It's just a matter of if it
develops.
if it
Into
gets into your bloodstream.
And making sure you don't have any infections that could be an avenue for this infection to get into your bloodstream.
And even major dental work is a way for the infection to get into your bloodstream. On like the survivors blogs that I've been reading, they say a lot of them have had broken noses or dental work done recently, and that could have been an avenue for the bacteria to get into their bloodstream. But it's just so, since it's considered forgotten, it's just not investigated into what exactly is causing it.
Yeah, I'm assuming, I mean, they see thousands of cases every day that sore throat.
Yeah.
Such a common symptom for so many different conditions.
Right.
And then even meningitis too is another one of those that seems to attack college students, but there is a vaccine that people can get. And
that's what I thought it was at first, you know, it was meningitis. And they checked her.
Yeah. A
At
couple
the-
of times
at the
I kept
clinic.
mentioning that, and how many times did I call the nurse hotline and say, could it be Lyme's disease? Could it be?
yeah, that's
You know,
another
and it
really
was
prevalent
like
one right now too.
Just going,
Clueless.
yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you taking time to be with us, for sharing your story, and so we can get the word out about Lemire syndrome. And so thank you so much. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for-
Thank you. Stephen, Peggy, and Stephanie, absolutely thank you for being with us, and we wish you continued success and good luck with everything.
Thanks.
So thank you so much. Now, to conclude this program, we're going to take a look at an amazing medical event. If you were with us last month, you may remember that we had two paramedics with us that were telling us about this incredible move that involved thousands of very extremely sick children from one Minneapolis hospital to another. Now we'll take you behind the scenes of this incredible undertaking, and you can meet these amazing children and these unsung heroes.
This has happened around the country, but not to this extent with these sicker kids. We're dealing with about 57 patients right now, 3 of them that are acuity 4 and 5. And then we have 2 kids that are on the oscillator vents, and they're hour by hour, basically. We got asked to participate in the move from Fairview U of M Hospital, the Ampas Children's Hospital that's located there on the 5th floor. It contains a pediatric intensive care unit, blood marrow transfusion unit, and 2 medical surge units. Sickest kids around the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, nonetheless the country. They built a whole new facility for them on the other side of the river, on the west bank, attached to Riverside, and that's the Ampas Children's Hospital. So tomorrow, we got asked to take on the task to transport these kids over to the new facility. We have children that are on Berlin heart machines, kids with various serious diseases where if you even touch their skin it can slough off or become blisters and things like that. So we at this point don't even know if we're going to be able to transport all the kids tomorrow. It all depends on how they do overnight tonight. So we'll do it with 83 total people, 11 ambulances, 18 stretchers, 4 baby pods, and an ice select.
first started, we were all ramped up, excited, but also a little nervous, a little scared, like realizing for the first time what we're actually doing, the kind of patients that we're moving. We've all seen sick and hurt kids in our careers, but normally it's once or twice a month that you see a sick kid. We have 58 in one day, back to back. So it was a big undertaking.
With this specific move, every single patient that we took was very, very, very sick. So they needed to have direct attention to everything that was going on. They needed to treat everything with a significant amount of compassion and care, and they did that perfectly. We took on quite a mission, and I never thought once in my career that I would be witnessing our crews unhooking a 4-year-old child from a Berlin heart machine while their staff hand pumped her heart to load her into the back of the ambulance. It was quite the sight, and they didn't miss a beat.
I remember a great story from one of our paramedics who told me that this kid who was initially crying and very scared, he didn't want to leave his bed. She turned it into a game, made him feel really happy and excited. By the time we got him downstairs getting ready to the ambulance, he's waving from the cot, smiling. I feel bad for Bill, who was our transportation staging officer. He had to back up all the ambulances into the staging area. He's out in the rain the whole time. Not to mention our cleaning crews. Every time we had unloaded a patient, we had to clean the ambulance so that it's ready for the next patient. That cleaning team worked all day long out in the rain, and kudos to them.
It's an amazing, amazing feeling. Right now we're just kind of focused on getting the core transported over, and maybe we can start to feel good about it in a little bit.
Can't even describe it. It's cool, it's historic, so do what we can and help out little kids.
Very proud of our team, the compassion, empathy, overall ownership of the entire patient move was second to none, and they really truly represented Health Houston Fairview as the best of the best.
You know, the paramedics and EMTs every day really are the unsung heroes, not just for this move, but every day. The work that they do, they take people on the sickest days of their lives and the worst experiences of their lives, and they get them help, get them where they need to go. And this day in particular, 58 patients, it was quite an experience to have all that happen over and over and over again without rest, without break in between. Just kept going. They really are the heroes.
Quite an amazing, amazing experience. Well, that's our program for you. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll hope you join us next time on Inside Healthcare. We'll see you then, everyone.
Inside Healthcare. For more information, visit stjohnshospital-mn.org or call 651-326-7800.